A very good morning to all the online students who are watching this class. As you all might be aware that I am teaching marketing research for this trimester. So in my last few videos, I have been teaching like what is marketing research, what are its use cases, what are the importance and what are the scope. Now let's further delve into another important and fascinating concept that is called as customer lifetime value. This concept that especially after completing your PGDM or rather an MBA, this concept is widely used in industry, in corporate for knowing how much a customer is contributing to the entire life towards a particular brand. So let us deep dive into this interesting topic known as customer lifetime value. But before that, an interesting question that pops up is that what is the difference between customers and consumers? So I hope you all are aware, or for those who are not aware about this topic, especially the core difference between what is the customer and who are called as customer and who are called as consumer. Let us deep dive into this as well. So, customer can be defined as a person who buys the product or services from a shop or a business. Okay, that's a very core and a very basic definition. Let us move ahead to the definition of consumers. A person who uses these products or services. So, the drastic difference that lies between the customer and a consumer is that customer who is actually buying the product and the consumer who is actually consuming that particular product. For example, your father has bought toys for you. Yeah, for example, say bought a mobile phone for you. So, your father can be the customer of that particular mobile phone and you are the actual or the real consumer of that particular mobile phone. Now, another thing that I would like to highlight in this topic, since it is the customer who spends the money and buys the products or goods that maintains a person in this world can be called as the customer. So the same example, let me highlight here as well. Your father can be the customer who is buying the mobile phone for you because he is actually spending the money for buying or for purchasing that mobile phone for you. And now since it is the consumer who is actually consuming the specific product, for example, that you are actually going to consume your mobile phone, for example, for watching videos, for example, for scrolling social media. So you are the end user of that particular mobile phone, but you are not buying it. So you are called as consumer and your father is the customer of that particular mobile phone. So I hope this is the very basic difference that comes into the line picture of customer and a consumer. So I hope that it is clear. So let us move ahead with our another interesting thing before we move to our core topic, that is customer lifetime value, customer loyalty matrix. So what does this customer loyalty matrix? It is basically a matrix that highlights the difference, or rather that incorporates loyalty and satisfaction of customers into 2x2 matrix. So as you can see from the screen, that customer loyalty matrix is divided into 4 quadrants. So first quadrant we will be discussing low loyalty, and on the another hand we have low satisfaction. So if a brand is coming into this category, for example, the only way is up, new business or transactional supplier. Here the loyalty is also low for a particular brand and the satisfaction derived from that particular brand is also quite low. So the only way up or for the only side is that to provide a product that has a utility in the day-to-day life. Moving ahead to the second quadrant, that is here the loyalty is quite high but the satisfaction derived from that particular product or a brand is quite low. For example, here the term that we use in our marketing is called as for high loyalty and low satisfaction, secure. But here there is a associated risk with it. We have to identify the root cause for low customer satisfaction and improve it so that our brand or a product can move into the star category, which is the top-notch category, and we will be discussing into the later. So let's move ahead to the third category, which is high satisfaction, but on the other hand we have low loyalty. Here the technical term which is given in the marketing concept is called as vulnerable. Here our customer can be called as vulnerable. Here we are focusing on building relationship with decision makers and influencers, or the gatekeepers rather, who are actually buying the product. Here the loyalty is low but the satisfaction derived from the customer or the satisfaction used or the derived from that particular product or a brand is very high. For example, your father has bought the mobile phone. In the last example, I am just reiterating or the re-quoting here as well. The father has bought the mobile phone and your sibling is also wanting a mobile phone. So, but this time in the second iteration, your father has bought the mobile phone from another brand. For example, say OnePlus. Last time he has bought from Samsung. So the satisfaction derived from both the mobile phones could be high. as both the brands are well established in the market. But the customer, if we have to say, your father has switched from Samsung to OnePlus, so the loyalty is quite low. Hence we can say that, or rather the brands can call your father as a vulnerable. Now coming to the last quadrant, which is the best quadrant to operate for any particular brand, for any particular product or services as well, which is known as star, the danger of complacency. Here the main thing that we need to maintain is we have to maintain our quality, we have to maintain our service providability and so on. Here the loyalty is also high and the satisfaction derived from that particular product or the brand is also quite high. So this 2x2 matrix is called as customer loyalty matrix, and the aim, the goal, the final outcome of all the brands, of all the product, of all the services is to operate in the quadrant called as high loyalty and high satisfaction star. Now coming to the topic that I have discussed in the starting of this video, that is, what is customer lifetime value? Let's delve into this topic. Customer lifetime value, or if we done acronym CLV, is the net present value attributed to a typical customer in a company over their average buying lifetime. So let's break this definition into small bits and bit pieces. It is the net present value. So obviously whatever the money we are generating today is far more better whatever the money we will be generating in the past or we will be generating in the future. So the very basic concept of finance that the net present value is dealing, the same concept is present in this definition. Today's net present value that is attributed to a particular customer. Here mind the word that we are using, customer, not the consumer. Why customer? Let me know your opinion in the comment box. You can pause this video for a second and write your answer in the comment box. So we are using the word customer because the person who is actually buying the product is called as customer. Remember the differentiating slide that we have just discussed now, the difference between a customer and a consumer. So that's why we have used the particular word here, typical customer. Let's go ahead in this definition. In a company over their average buying lifetime. For example, a person is loyal to a particular brand for a span of 3 years, for a span of 5 years. So in the span of 3 or 5 years, how much the total revenue is generated from that particular customer. So just summing up all the tits and bits that we have discussed, net present value attributed to a typical customer in a company, obviously over the average buying lifetime of that particular customer till the point where the customer is a loyal customer to that particular brand or a product or a services. So this concept in a nutshell is called as CLV, or customer lifetime value. Now focus on the screen. I guess you might be aware about this curve. This curve is known as bell curve or a normal distribution curve. That is a topic that you might have studied in your business research method or a research method. So I hope you all are aware about 80-20 rule, that 80% of the revenue is generated by 20% of the customers only. So the same graph is depicted here as well. Number of customer on one axis and versus the time axis. So on the first quadrant, it is representing 20% non-profitable customers. Obviously, they just scroll our website, might they purchase a very small kind of product or so, but they are not generating any revenue or a very feeble or a weak revenue. Now coming to the major chunk, 60% profitable customer lies in this quadrant, which is known as the second quadrant. And the third one, which is the most profitable one, that is 20% very profitable customer. So these 20% very profitable customer generate around 80% of the revenue. So this is the 80-20 rule that you might have studied in the various other subjects, especially in BRM. It holds true in customer lifetime value as well. So coming to the last concept of this session, like how to generate the maximum customer lifetime value from a particular customer. The question arises in the fierce competition of day-to-day world, like brands, what is happening with the immense promotional campaigns activity going on. Every day new brand pops up in the market, and you might have got some notifications as well on social media and so on, like how to maintain in the particular market, how to survive in this strife competition. So for this, what is the best thing we can do is to follow a simple, very simple model, which is called as IDA model: attention, interest, desire, and lastly the action. So what is attention? Here we tend to capture the attention of our potential customer. Mind the word, I am using the potential customer here for targeting our customer. How can we gather the attention of our customer? By having a sense of urgency kind of notification in your mobile phone, by having a fear of missing out kind of emails in your mailbox, using an emotions, writing a clear copy, creating a viral content especially. So all these activities are there which helps us in catching the attention of our customer. Moving ahead. Next step is interest. Now, once we have generated them a sense of urgency, the fear of missing out, then we have to click on interest. Like, are these things aligning with the interest of the particular customer or not? Then the third step, which is the most important step, is the desire. Now, first you are capturing the attention, followed by their interest. You are clicking on that particular interest of the customer, and that interest should be aligning to their desire. Otherwise, they are not gonna purchase your product. They are not going to click on your buy link. And the last is the action. What is the action? Obviously, the purchase action. Making it easier to buy, for example, creating an assurance that what we are promising we are delivering at the end of the day, giving some free trials. For example, this is true for startups that are starting their business journey. They can try some free trials or so on. And also there is another very witty example I would like to quote: referral incentive. For example, calling your friend or referring this product to your friends, and then you will both be getting some kind of incentive. So all these things are links to the action map. So this is known as the IDA model that we can use to generate the maximum customer lifetime value: attention, interest, desire, and action. So quickly revise your the basic definition of what is CLV. CLV is the net present value attributed to a typical customer in a company over their average buying lifetime. I hope I am very much clear here that like why I am not using the word consumer in this particular definition. So this is the model that I want to discuss here, and the definition that we have discussed I have summed up. So that's all for this session. Let's hope to see you in the further videos.